Zach squad here, represented by Bloom. We've got Level Golden, Rushman and Philo, Sirocco with Batty and Fell. Then the big squads. What's up with 3 riders, Montoya, Stewart and Clays. And the cycling district with 4 riders, Oliveira, Andrade and 2, Pierres, Marcos and Pedro, both are representing them, all from Portugal. Will it be Cycling Districts Day? Will this be their new home turf, or will they feel that they are not able to make it their own? Time to go racing in Category 3. We're in with Lewis Ridley as we head out from those pens. A rider who I think needs another step up. He was going really strong. He seemed to plateau a little bit, and I think he's about ready for the next kick. Ooh. I think he could well be. We're going to see Ridley take another step up again.
There's a prediction.
There you go.
Well, Matt's making predictions in the corner of the studio. Nicholas Orrego, Pedro Piera, all in the mix. JJ Miller having a great start at the moment, right at the front of the pack. Cansara is there. Patterson is there as well. Oviedo is in the mix too, as well as Montoya and Goodall. Pierre Fell is there. The riders really, really pushing on. In fact, Dylan Kennett, the rider who has come up from Category 4 to Category 3, right on the front of the group. Can I just say it's also fabulous to have some new riders in Category 3 as well, and we do indeed. Suleiman Minal is on the front of the group at the moment, and one of the new riders to the Sunday race. So welcome, everybody. If we don't welcome you, join, apologies. But welcome everybody who has joined recently to the Sunday Race Club. It's fabulous to have you on board.
We do try and see, cover, talk about absolutely everybody.
That's a very hard thing to do, but
yeah, we kind of fell pretty miserably at it sometimes, but you know, that is just the way.
Failure is part of life.
I also take it that it's a great thing because there's so many more new riders, people jumping on board, having a go and coming and having a try. And you know, if we had 4 riders or 5 riders, or we just focused on one category, then
do you know, I reckon
it would be easier for us, but it wouldn't be half as much fun for everybody.
Here's something for my whoosh info today, Clark. If everybody who had ever raced the Sunday Race Club turned up on a Sunday, how many riders would that be? I reckon it's got to be over 1,000.
I dread to think. It'd be an interesting one. We will find out at some point. You never know. We might even bring you the numbers in the future. Now, in with Luis Andrade, one of those riders, part of that cycling district squad. He's here on our screens on the left-hand side. That's a great screen behind, sir.
It is, isn't it?
It is indeed. You can just see microphone in front as well. Got the Shocks headset on as well, so you can hear and hear us as well. Good to see you. And yeah, we are. Well, I'm waving, but Em never waves a camera when nobody can see it. I always wave, so good to see you. So part of that cycling district squad, they're captained and DS by Luis Silva today. And don't forget, get in touch with us. Let us know if your squad's in there and they're racing. Maybe let us in on some sneaky tactics. Just make sure you say, don't put this on air, because if you send us something, you never know what will happen unless you tell us. And if you do tell us,
that's a seriously good message.
It is one of our golden rules. If you tell us not to say anything, we won't.
But if you don't tell us not to say anything, it's highly likely we will.
Quite possibly so. We will find out. Now, we are heading out with Category 3. The gaps between our groups on Category 6 to Category 5, we had a 5-minute gap. Between Category 5 and Category 4, it's a 5-minute gap. Between Category 4 and Category 3, a 5-minute gap. But we now have a 10-minute gap between the start that we saw from Category 3 to our Category 2 riders. We're in with one of our regulars, Ivo Schoen. Ivo, he's a rider who, apart from the fact that we reference Ivo the tank engine, Ivo is a fantastic rider. And I tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
He's a rider who is always in the mix. He's always battling there or thereabouts.
Well, can I tell you, Category 3 for me, everybody, well, not everybody, but lots of riders are so strong in this category. Last week in the May final, 1 second separated the top 14 riders. That tells you how close this category is, and that a lot of riders are normally always in the mix. Rebecca from Kaplinski, from Diduch, from Barrett, from Guarin, they were the top 5. 3.2 seconds separated the gold grabbers from what's up in the team competition, and take that, we're only 15 seconds further back. The strength and depth in Category 3 is phenomenal. And Ivo's still one of those. Water Clays is also one of those riders. And take a look at that. He's in the green skin suit. That was some sprint performance.
It is indeed. He's absolutely gone flying around the race route here, taking that sprint there. Nicholas Furrier, very, very close indeed. I think Furrier, one of the chasers who came through there. I'm sure Nicholas Furrier, is he not a coach?
Yes, he is indeed. New coach on the My Whoosh live coaching. Fabulous to have him on board. The live coaching been absolutely a brilliant thing to do. I have absolutely seems to be my word of the day at the moment. Absolutely enjoyed doing it, and it's been really good to see some of our riders dropping into those sessions. Nicholas Hagland, we can see yet again dialing it on the front of the Category 4 pack. You can see 6, 5, 4, and 3 now out the start pens. I'm just looking, there's a little bit of deja vu because it's Rick Van Erck on the front of the pack behind as well.
Maybe these two have a little bit of a battle to see who can go clear. Now, interesting to see in front of the race, though, rider in number 1 position, Rennie Olsen, at the moment from Red Sensing. These two riders with a 10-second gap on the budge in Category 6. Now, this Aquarian climb, Emma said at the start of the women's show, if you weren't here with us for that, why not? Go back and have a watch. It was great racing. Yeah, she said there that this climb is all about who gets dropped, about staying in contention. It's not about breaking away. And even when we see a move on the front, it's rare it stays. But interestingly, in Category 6, that's what happened. We got 3 riders go clear in the women's race. It looks like we've got a breakaway here in Category 6. Do you think that's category specific? It's more likely to happen in categories 5 and 6, say, than it is in categories 1 and 2.
Short answer or long answer?
Both.
Short answer, yes.
Long answer?
Long answer, because the way the categories are formulated, Category 6 and Category 5, I think, are less tightly bunched. We've got very, very small ranges on 1, 2, 3, and 4, more of a range on 5 and 6, and that is the reason why. Simon Llewellyn in the pack, and you can see, look at that effort on his face, the concentration. He's in the pack, he's sitting in the group, he's riding really strongly at the moment. He's keeping where he needs to be.
And his pain cave situated down in the garage there?
Yes, because you can see the garage door opener on the ceiling.
I thought it was being all clever noticing that, and you got this one. No, it's pretty obvious, wasn't it? Okay, now we're just taking a look at the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can see that radar view. Each of the riders represented by a purple disc in Category 6, the disc in the colour of the category the riders are. You can see that this big bunch in the centre of that screen, all together with riders dotted behind them who've been distanced on the course. The 2 leaders just up the road, but they've still got quite a way to go to the summit. That gap still holding at the moment. This pack still chasing on at the moment in Category 6. And at the moment, that gap, it's looking good. We're just going to jump in with Maxime Farah at the moment, the Frenchman with the fan rolling. Quite warm today in France, pretty much across the nation. And it does mean that keeping hydrated is going to be absolutely key. Interesting, he's going for the natural fueling option of bananas.
I know, I noticed that. Lots of potassium, great, good fuel.
Yeah, lots of potassium. Good for stopping cramp as well.
Yes.
Some people swear by milk, some by bananas.
And do you know what I like for cramp?
What?
Magnesium spray.
Right, okay, to spray onto the muscle.
Yes. Not obviously, no, I don't spray it into my mouth. I put it on the muscle afterwards to stop cramping. Rennie Olsen and Brent Sensing, we saw them push away at the beginning of the climb from the Category 6 packs, and they have stayed clear. They're 14 seconds clear of the chasing group being led by de Manuan. Pablo de Manuan's had some brilliant races recently over the last couple of months. David Milano is there. David Winfield is there as well. So is Sebastian Wolf. The question really is will Sensing and Olsen stay clear? They're coming towards the top of the aquarium climb. Still a little way to go, around 800 metres. They'll then take the descent into the Leeward Desert climb, which is short, sharp and nasty. There's then a long transition before they go into Tel Marie. But those two wanting to stay clear, I think, and trying to work together.
Well, we'll see if they hold it together as we move on to Category 2. We have our squads in here. So the team with the biggest volume of riders, in fact, the Smarties squad with based in the team, Betty, Ritter and Walter. Sandstorm represented by Nathan Guerra. The Hitmen by Ross Fawcett, Tatu Coyton. The UAE Falcons by Ahmed Al-Tanaji and Zaid Hamdan. Cycling Districts team have 3 riders in Category 2. Pinto, Dan and Coimbra, and of course the UAE clan team are here. Mr. X100, Pavlo Popovic and SS all in and due to a race. We're in with Olivier Simmons, who currently not ready for a team today, but he is a one-man, pretty much hitman team, it has to be said, because he goes out and he scores time and time again. A one-man, well, sprints, climbs. In fact, today, it is a course that could well suit Olivier, also known as Bigly, by Emma and Olivier and Ollie to his friends, is one of those riders who I think could well and truly perform on a course like it's his skill set. Climbs of up to sort of 3.5K, short, sharp climbs, lots of aggressive racing. That you could almost describe a perfect course there for a number of riders, but Simmons is one, and I think that's going to play to his strengths. SS is another.
I agree, and we talked about 1 second separating the top 14 in Category 3. 1 second also separated the top 14 in Category 2 last week. Coyston and Bjarhead, Damsgaard, Theme and SS ended up the top 5. But if you thought 3.2 seconds was nothing between the gold grabbers and what's up in Category 3, take a listen to this. The Goats team last week in Category 2 took the win from Abus Esports by 1.5 seconds. The Hitmen were at 2.2 seconds in 3rd place. That is how close Category 2 was last week. Phenomenal racing in the May final. Brilliant riding here. And I'll tell you something is going to be interesting as well. Nathan Guerra has come up from Category 3. So has Travis Barrett and Jan Kaplinski. They are going to be great additions to Category 2.
I think they're going to really mix things up, and be interesting to see how they approach that as well. Now we're just in with David Nitko at the moment, one of our regulars on screen in the paddock, having a regular animator of the racing already. It's being fired up, and again, it's the slight rises on this early run towards the sprint and in are already triggering riders. Some riders are really using them to their advantage.
But this is
those
so
little
different.
Kicks, those little drops.
Take a look at the top right hand corner of your screen. Look at the stretch on that group. It's not even like there's 1 or 2 riders clear like we've seen in the attacks in Category 4. This is a long train of riders, and they are dialing it on the front at the moment. Phil Graves, yourself, Betty, Patrick Stepanak, Jeffrey Milieu, who we saw sprinting really strongly last week. You know, there we go. We're going in with Betty at the moment. He's not even taken his warm-up jersey off yet.
No, I was going to say, I hope it's like Baltic where he is, because he's got the big long jersey on the top. I can't imagine that's going to stay on. Giselle Betty, a rider who's ridden 81 Sunday race clubs so far. 6 wins, 4 second places, 3 third places, and 7 top 5s in addition to that as well. Interestingly, he's a rider who we know can go right up at the top, but just on a dip in form at the moment. I think may well just be that he's going to need to just start pulling back. His last win, in fact, came back in January.
Well, you know, we often say you've got to think about phases of the year. You can't think about being on top form week in, week out for 12 months. It just doesn't work that way. And you've got to manage a year to stay fresh and to stay well. Well, Olivier Bigly Simmons is bigging it up at the moment because he's now in that green skin suit.
He is. I was just looking at the screen thinking he's going to be absolutely fine.
No, he's changed.
He was
because Maciej Skierski has pipped him at the post, and Skierski doing that by being further back in the group and coming through that big group, because Simmons' average watts per kilo 15 watts per kilo, Skierski 13.1. Used the draft Maciej. That's what he did.
He did indeed use the draft. Remember, words like force and lightsabers and anything else were all reserved for me. Okay, let's dive across into the top category, into our elite riders. This category 1. They are going to be wearing that yellow jersey. Leonard Chugall's representing the Airbus Esports is here. He's a one-man squad along with Union's Speed Squad rider Joel Lewis. Now Pedersen representing the Wenger boys. Cycling District 1 with 2 riders, Alvarado and Machado. And we have got 3 riders, though, from Alpha Joel, Lionel Vajassi, Mikhail Kaminsky, and Ollie Jones. With 4 riders, we have got Osborne, Knudsen, Vink, and Safrazadi in the Boss Moves only squad. And with 4 riders, the Farm Watt squads, Andreasen, Noren, Harris, and Plantero on the start list. As they set off here, there are some notable absentees, one of which we're going to send a get well to.
Well,
carry on.
Yes, you
know who
that.
I mean.
Yeah, I do. I think you're inferring Mr. Hayden Pucker, who did the unbound gravel and had a little incident at 6 miles and then carried on riding for another 194.
Yes.
I would say congratulations. What grit, determination and resilience you have. Absolutely brilliant. Mend quick. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'm going to say you absolute nutcase. Carrying on riding with those injuries. But there you go.
We've all done it.
No, we haven't.
Oh.
When my side looked like a piece of raw beef, I generally get off the bike. But he was looking a really. He wasn't looking cooked. He was looking medium rare. I'll tell you something. One of our regular riders, and that we wish him well. Recover soon. I'm sure he'll be back kicking out the watts on the Sunday Race Club before he goes back out and has a little bit of a cuddle with the floor.
Well, I've cuddled the floor many times racing. Sometimes I've got up and sometimes I haven't. But Michael Knudsen at the moment is dialing it on the front of the Category 1 race pack at the moment. Jason Osborne, Christoph Kroll, Stefan van Elst, Ricardo Panizza and Lyndon Milostic all in there. Now, Jason Osborne took the win last week in the May final. He is here. No Marshall Wu, who took 2nd place. Sai Safrazadi, who took 3rd, is here. So is Ollie Jones, who took 4th, and Mikhail Kaminsky, who took 5th. We've been on this Tel Marib course in Arabia twice. Both times Jason Osborne has taken the win. The first time back in Qualifier 2 in January. The second time was Qualifier 3 in April. This is Qualifier 1 in June. Can we add a different name to that top of Category 1 list?
Can or will are 2 very different things. Can, yes. Will, not so sure about that. Osborne has been shown he's on form. For me, it's down to these riders to really take it to them in the form of Bjorn Andreasen at the moment, really ripping this up. We saw Michael Knudsen on the attack early. He was pushing out. And I think whilst Knudsen is on the same team as Osborne, I think they're looking to make the racing hard. And
yes.
I think the harder it is, the more likely you are to expose the cracks in even a world champion.
Yeah, because there's a tendency on this course, and I am going to caveat this as we're talking about Category 1. The Aquarium Climb, I wouldn't expect us to lose anybody off the Aquarium Climb unless they're choosing to have an easier day. The Leeward Desert Climb is short and sharp. Quite similar again. Michael Vink, there we go. He's in his pain cave, big screen in front of him. Last time we were here, it was Osborne and Vink who went head to head on this course. For me, the key part of this course for Category 1 is the back third when we come into the Tel Marib desert section, those 3 short, sharp climbs. The first one, 800 metres at 10%. Then we've got the smallest one at 600 metres, but it's still steep. And then the bigger climb, the Tel Marib June climb, which is categorised today, 1 kilometre at over 10%. You would naturally think that's where this race is going to be. But looking at it, you've got to shake it up. And as a Category 1 rider, you're going, well, we're not really going to wait till the final third of the race, are we? Because that's putting too much high risk in, because there'll be too many people there with fresh legs if we zone 1, zone 2 it till we get there. So let's play around with this and let's make Alexei Kalman is part and parcel of the mix with Bjorn Andreasen and Jasper Paradians, who have all gone through that first sprint. Paradians in the green skin suit. Well, I am not surprised at that. But have you taken a look at the power?
Yes, I have. He averaged through there 1,135 watts. Absolutely heart rate up, but very, very high as well for Jasper Paradins at 188. Very interesting that we on his way through, we were following Alexi Kalman actually going through the bunch there. And Kalman looked like he was on a blisteringly quick time, but his time was only second in the Category 1 race. Paradins with the fastest time, bar none. Nobody getting closer to him. But Kalman with only the 9th fastest time overall. It shows you just how different it can be when you've got different sizes of packs in and racing.
Well, Lana Yasin on our screens at the moment, part and parcel of that Alpha Jaw squad. They were second in the team competition last week, 2 boss moves only, 1 minute 11 seconds back. But Yasin himself, a strong rider, and you can see the concentration on his face. Joel Lewis just in front of him, his teammate Ollie Jones is there, Ricardo Panizza, Stuart Miller, all in the pack. Now it's Johan Noren that they're chasing at the moment. He's the rider down the road. Noren, part of that Farm Waltz squad, the same team as Bjorn Andreasen, and we saw him push on earlier too.
Yeah, just exactly what I was thinking. We've got this. We're starting to see these tactics where Farm Watts are starting to try and mix this up, and you'll notice that they're going to be sitting back, taking an easier ride. It's not in their interest to go chase down their teammate. Bridge across maybe without taking the world champion. Yes, do that without taking the world champion. Difficult though, very, very tough. So interesting that Noren's gone down the road. They'll give him some room. Hopefully, if that team tactic plays out for them, but the rest of the teams at some point will go, yeah, that's enough time to get you back in. Now, let's go across from Category 1 to Category 2, where nobody has managed to escape the clutches of the pack at the moment. Despite repeated attempts off the front, we are still seeing this group basically together. As we see Downey at the moment trying to open this up. Andrew Downey, a regular, strong rider. Will it be his day today? Well, it's a course that could well suit Andrew Downey. He's got a punch, he's got a kick, he can climb. Will it be enough? We will have to see, because I think with this big group all together, it could well come down, as Emma has said, towards the end of this race route and the 3 climbs that culminate in that Telmarib June climb.
Oh, Category 2, Ivan Nuki, Andrew Downey. Pack is coming back. Betty's at the front. Holweiler, Skierski, Krasnich, Allenjung, all in the mix here. Now, one of the things you can see, Ivan Nuki just pushing on there up to zone 5, zone 6. And you can see the power that the riders are putting in. So Nuki at the moment highlighted in blue, his name. Above the name bar, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 zones that are available. And the highlights changing. That's the power relative to the rider that we are seeing highlighted in blue. So you can see how hard that individual is working. And at the moment, Ivan Nuki is dialing it on the front of that squad.
And this suits Ivan Nuki's strength and power. I had a great message from Ivan. Thank you very much for sending it through, Ivan. Do try and reply to all. I have to admit, I fail miserably at replying to every single message on the way through, but I read every single one of them. Interesting. He's dialing in his strengths. He's racing to his strengths, and he'll be making people expend energy that they could maybe need to keep in reserve. And that's going to be a much more important tactic, I think, today, making people expend energy when they don't.
This is a rider. This is a rider who is having a really interesting race. Suleiman Minal at the moment in Category 3, continuing to push. And Ramirez is here, Rushmore is here, Kalman, Ridley and Fell. That pack is hunting behind.
They are, and I think it'll be really interesting to see whether or not they pull him back in, at what point they pull him back in as they come in. So just going to have to see what he does and whether he stays clear. They're coming up to the top of the summit here, and it's going to be from that pack that we're going to be looking to see who's going to take away the top spot here in terms of the King of the Mountains, the climbs competition here. The Aquarium climb banner comes. The sprint comes from the group. Will it be from the group? Will it be our lone leader who's going to take that? At the moment, it's showing us Suleiman, who has that jersey, but of course we have still got 2 more climbs to come in terms of who is going to take that overall. The aquarium climb, very, very decisive. So that's category 3 over the top of the climb. Emma, should we just...
Can I just tell you, there's 41 riders in that category 3 pack still.
41 riders in that pack. So
I told you they were closely
I'm going to very quickly run through the point scorers. Category 6 on that climb out was Truba from Wolf, from McMurtry, from Winfield and Manuan. In category 5, on the very first of our climbs on the aquarium climb, in category 5, it was Clendinen from Muktari, from Kriwanos, Yannick and Cirillo. In category 4, on that aquarium climb, Chigillo from Sprat, Giuliano, and then Younger Yu, followed by Cadiz. Then in category 3, we just see them go over the top. Suleiman Minul from Andrade, from Squillari, from Brun, from Restrepo. They're the point scorers so far, but it's not far from there to this climb where category 4 are at the moment. And that is the climb of the Liwa Desert climb, and at the moment you can see Ryan Giuliano in this leading group, certainly one where Ryan is today. And that bottle for hydration tote by the side there. He's going to be using plenty of fluids today as he makes his way up over the first part onto this flatter section. Now, and this is where, if you're lucky, you'll get some recovery. If you're not lucky, you're going to be kept on the edge by those riders who can keep the pace and accelerate up into this next climb section. This is a very different beast to the aquarium climb, even though they are both steps.
Hugely. That is the only similarity with them, that there are steps in the climb with some respite. The gradient on this one, so steep, and now they're coming towards the top, but you can take a look at the top right-hand corner. The pack who'd come in category 4, now split in 3. This is category 5. They're at the 23.7 kilometre marker. They are well and truly past the Liwa Desert climb. Martin Wang is pushing on at the front. It's a fairly flat run from the Liwa Desert climb to the Tel Marib sprint and then out the other side before they come to the Tel Marib dunes section. But it's a long run. They don't hit that section till they get just past the 32 kilometre marker. So this pack rolling and rolling strong, but like category 3, it's a big group of category 5 riders. And my last count, there were 23 riders in that category 5 pack. As we just switch to, you can see the category 4 pack on the right hand side of your screen, and this is the chase for the polka dot banner to pick up those points. Moretti is the rider pushing on, Nicholas Spratt coming through, Daniel Cadiz is there as Van Erck, and you can see it's actually Nicholas Spratt who picks up the polka dot skin suit, taking the fastest time on the Liwa Desert climb in category 4. It was Trujillo who took the fastest time on the aquarium climb. Spratt was second that time.
He was indeed. So Cadiz from Spratt, from Moretti, from Van Erck, and then Stevenson in category 4. In category 5, Agadello taking the fastest time up the Liwa Desert climb from Clendinin, then Cirillo, Lasno, and Mountier. In category 6 on that climb, Hoy taking top spot from a Truba, McMurtry, Wolf, de Manuan and Winfield. So very interesting to see how the riders are targeting that. You can see some of the same names up there, looking for those points, looking to get not only the segment prize, but also to take away the win, but also to animate the racing. And this is what we're seeing here in category 2, because one of our regular animators, Maciej Mendakowicz, at the moment being chased by the familiar blue bike, blue bandana and gloves there of SS, who goes over the top into the lead in category 2. But he's got company. David Dunn is there as well. A strong trio, Dunn, SS and Mendakowicz, but Milor is having none of it. He's very quickly into the moves. Interesting to see Graves moving up, Alan Young, Betty. These riders who we see towards the end of the race now very aware that they cannot afford to let the gaps go. One rider already being distanced off the back of the group, and we're only just into the tunnels.
Yeah, we are indeed. As you say, one rider being distanced, and it's looking like another one is going to go unless they can keep on those pedals and stay in the back of the group. The category 2 pack, it's the biggest race field of the day with 56 riders on the start sheets. It's going to be a big pack, I think, coming into the finish as well, and it's going to be really interesting when we go through those Tel Marib dunes, what happens to this race field. But it's SS at the moment on the front of the pack. David Dahn, Masit Mindakowicz, Tord Allen-Jung is there as well. These riders wide across the road. Time, a little bit of respite. We've just come through the flatter section where the bunch will come back together again. We might now start to see a little bit more of a stretch as we go back into the next climbing section.
And if you're a climber, you've got to make these sections count. There's no good giving a sprinter an easy ride or a bigger rider an easy ride. You need to be really starting to hand it out. You've got to race to your strengths, and that sometimes is maybe not where you want it to be, but with this the biggest climb being right at the start, is with the earliest climb coming in at 12.2k as the 45-kilometer race distance. You've really got to push and you've really got to go hard. Interestingly, the height gain on the Aquarium climb is actually the same as the Telmarie Dune climb, but it's just much longer, 3.2k, whereas the Telmarie Dune climb is 1k long. It does give those climbers that opportunity at the back end of the race, but you want to make life as hard as possible.
Can I just say,
people as soon as you can.
We've just had Paul Skirski on the screen. Yep. This is a great course for him.
It is. It is. I think he's one of those riders that you would never, ever want to discount from a race win, but Paul Skirski is 2 wins so far on the Sunday race club. Last win being on, guess which course?
Telmarie?
Yep.
Told you it was a good course for him, and I've not even looked at your data.
20th of April.
There you go. You see, that was the last time we were here.
Yeah, guess where? In fact, he likes the Arabian World because he actually won on the Jebel Yais back in January as well.
Hold on a minute. There's 2 courses you couldn't really pick, could you? The Jebel Yais, seriously long climb. Telmarie, short, sharp and punchy. Well, Khan Kayan is another rider who I think excels on short, sharp and punchy.
Khan Kayan is really, really coming into his own, and I think he's a rider who, for me, seems to peak when we go into sort of the March, April, May, June period really, really well. And he is up to the fore, and I think that's what we're seeing again here, and right into the mix here. Interestingly, not far away from Gombe, there's Simon Walter in the mix as well, right up at the front here on the climb. The Category 2 riders just coming towards the summit of the climb at the moment, the Aquarium climb. This Category 1 are on the way into the start. Johan Noren, though.
20 seconds clear.
Yeah, it's a long way.
That is a really great move from Johan Noren. Absolutely brilliant. A member of the Farm Watch squad. And we saw Bjorn Andreas and his teammate attack earlier on in Category 1. Johan Noren went away. He slipped away and nobody chased him. Yet we know he's a great climber.
Now, this group all came in together. This side, Carradine has gone for a long one in terms of taking away the segment prize. Is being chased by SRC. This is going to come down to not just who goes over the line first, which is SS, but who started further back in the group. And it looks like neither rider is going to take this because it is Paul Skirski climbing his way into the polka dot skin suit. As Emma says metaphorically, I told you so on the other side of the studio. It may be a little while.
I got a big grin on my face.
Yes. So the word that I was looking for was smug, to be fair.
Grin.
But it's, yes, smug grin. It would do equally as well with Emma's correct prediction that Paul Skirski could not be discounted on this course. And clearly he's on form as well, taking that away and riding smart. Because he wasn't the first over the summit, but he was the fastest up the climb. Paul Skirski taking 5 points, Betty taking 4, Carradine taking 3, SS taking 2, and Patrick Stepanek taking 1 point in the climbs competition. Now, I'm willing to put quite a lot of money. No
betting.
Okay, no betting. In that case, I am willing to provide you, Emma, with an ice cream if Johan Noren actually managed to go over with the fastest time, given that he came in here with 20 seconds gap, and at the moment it's down to about 10.
Yeah, but it's Michael Vink. They've just realised, Noren is down the road, also a phenomenal mountain biker. He's down the road and he needs catching. But I tell you what, take a look at who they're catching. That is Simmons and Fawcett. Oliver Simmons on our screen at the moment. Ross Fawcett is the rider he's with at the moment. And straight over the top, straight past goes Michael Vink on a charge to close down Johan Noren. Noren still 12 seconds up the road, and there it is. There he goes, Michael Knudsen, teammate of Vink. There goes Jason Osborne, teammate of Vink and Knudsen. The boss moves only are now moving.
They are indeed, and just as a side note, in Category 2, Olivier Sevens and Ross Fawcett, both who can be contenders on their day, not in with the lead group in Category 2, being passed already, as the lead group in Category 2 have already gone over the summit of this climb. Both those riders tapping out a steadier ride behind.
Yes,
maybe going to go for the sprints between them.
Well, I'll tell you, Vink is on our screen at the moment. You can see the effort and the work he's putting in to close that gap down to Noren. 5-second gap behind him. He has gone clear of the group behind. And if you look at the top right-hand corner of your screen, you can see the damage this move and Noren's breakaway has done to the Category 1 pack. Smattered like skittles down the mountain behind them as Vink comes up onto Noren's wheel. Now, my question is Vink going to sit down on that saddle, or is he going to continue to push on now for the polka dot banner, which, yes, he is. Noren frantically scrabbles now to lift the pace and to try and go with Michael Vink. Knudsen, Miller, Jones, Van Elst, Panizza all behind in the group at 6 seconds as they go on to the final section of the aquarium climb.
If I think Vink isn't just going here for the climb, I think he's going for the breakaway. We've seen Michael Vink solo from this kind of distance. He can do this, and I think that's that for me. If you're in that chasing group of Category 1 and you are not having your ears deafened by the alarm bells going off in your head saying Vink has gone up the road, we need to do something about this because he could ride to the finish, then there's something wrong, because you need to be aware, you need to be marking this. You know, letting Johan Noren seconds is one thing, letting Michael Vink get 10 seconds is something else altogether. And they're coming up to Noren now. Vink will ride away given half a chance. He won't ease off, he will take his opportunities. He's got that killer instinct, that winner's instinct to seize an opportunity and to really make it count. And for me, that's what we're seeing here. 7 watts per kilo. This is not uncomfortable for Michael Vink. This is a effort to go over the top. It'll be telling when he goes over and underneath the banner. That gap at the moment is 10 seconds. He's doing damage no matter what. But look at that. That is not just, if he was just going for the segment, he could have opened up a gap of 2-3 seconds and that would be enough. This is a big move, and this is very, very strong indeed.
It is a really strong move from Michael Vink, and he's going to drop down the aquarium climb the other side, and then he's going to go straight into the Liwa Desert climb. So in terms of timing on the course for an attack, this is really great timing and positioning because of the nature of it. It's a technical downhill. It's not just a straight run downhill. It is as stepped on the downhill run as the climb of the aquarium climb. So it's a technical downhill, and one that you can stay away on, and the one that you can stay away from a chasing group. The chasing group is 6 seconds back, and it's Panizza leading the charge. Flubus is in there as well, Andreasen, Vujasin, Van Elst, Milostic, but the stretch is on that group behind, and you can clearly see that Vink's continual push is causing challenges behind. Now, I have just noticed Vink did just drop there to 3 watts per kilo, but he's already started to pick up the pace again.
Yeah, he's clearly not on that same pace that he had over the top, but that is not recovery pace. That is not 2, 3, 4 watts a kilo. He's back up again, isn't he, at 4 and 5? Very interesting. We'll come back.
20 riders, though, in that leading group.
Yeah, 1 versus 19. Not quite a fair fight unless you call Jason Osborne or Michael Vink. I think at the moment there are 2 riders on the best form, but that doesn't mean that they're unbeatable. Now, going across from Category 1, who are the last riders to start to our earlier starters, you can see Category 6 leaders on the left-hand side of your screen, the Category 5 leaders on the right-hand side of your screen. Mark Dadson, who we talked about earlier, with Christopher Lasno sprinting their way down the race route at the moment. They're the other side of the
Category
sprint
5
segment.
are not far behind Category 6.
They're not that distance. It's only 600 meters. Category 6, I hate to say this, but they are looking like they are having a bit of a club run at the moment.
They are having a bit of a club run. Pedestrian was the word I was going to use.
I was thought about it, I didn't dare say that.
But if you take a look, we're with Pablo Domanion at the moment. He's riding in zone 2 at the moment. You can see that from the information on screen. He's just dropped down to zone 1. It is a steady energy reserving pace before they go into the Telmarib Dunes, where they are going to need every match in their box.
Indeed, so time for them to head in. They're going to hit that first climb. It's about 850 meters or so long, this climb, the first of the two uncategorized parts of this segment. Then you go on to the categorized section of the Telmarib Dune climb. And this actually was the first one was the finish of the women's race earlier on. I think if you've been watching that women's race, you see how many riders died, 1,000 deaths in the last 100 meters of this section. Now, that was at the end of the race, but I think it could still be just as decisive as they come in to that section. Category 6, left-hand side of the screen. Right-hand side of the screen, the three breakaway riders, Mark Dawson, Christophe Lasneau, and Martin Wang in there. Wang, an interesting rider, and one definitely not to discount, already with wins on the Sunday Race Club, and taking that first win in the 7 Gems race in qualifier race number 2 in May. I mean, he's only ridden 5 and he's won one of them.
I'm sorry, but I'm giggling. Look at the size of that category 2 pack. And then I cross-checked the race distance. They're 200 meters from the top of the Liwa Desert climb. Look at the size of that group.
It's still huge. They're still sprinting.
I reckon that's 30 riders.
Yeah, over the top of this segment, Mathieu Kalman took the winning category 3 from Luis Andrade, from Squilari and Bloom. They're the riders who went through. This time round in category 2, it's Paul Skierski taking again segment prizes. He was absolutely flat. I mean, really, really impressive here, because Paul Skierski, we saw, was going well in the sprint, but it is Skierski from Mendakowicz, from Betty, from Damsgaard, and then SS with Stepanek, Milor, Wozniak, Khan. They're all the big names up at the front there.
36 riders still in the leading group in category 2. There's a little bit of stretch on the group at the moment, but they are about to drop down from the Liwa Desert climb onto the long flat run before they hit the Telmarib Dune section. But they've got around a 10-kilometer transition to go. The pack now all coming together, but the question is, will that one solitary rider who has been distanced off the back make it back on board? The current pace of Khan Kane at 0.8 watts per kilo. My answer is yes.
I'm going to
say no.
I'm going to suggest that for almost all the race categories, that the best tactic for this course is minimalist efforts until you hit the end section. So basically, stay with the group on the Aquarium climb and the Liwa Desert climb. Don't put in anything that's putting as little as you can get away with. Recover as much as possible, because if you are a sprinter, a climber, a ruler, and anything in between, pretty much, you're going to be you need it at the end of the course here for the really hilly, bumpy section at the end. And the more you can keep your energy until the end of the talk, the better. The end of that race stage, the better. Now, just in with Franklin Gomez de Almeida at the moment. He's in here with this group of category 4 leaders. Definitely a rider well worth watching here today. Interesting to see he's got the weights in the background there in his pain cave. So clearly doing plenty of strength training to improve the power and to give him that stable platform that you can generate the watts and the power from.
Well, the watts and the power in category 4, Franklin Almeida, the rider who's just been on our screen, is tightly fitted into the bunch. We can see Goman, Montoya, Van Eekhout is in there as well, and they are transitioning towards that Telmarib Dune section. Mohamed Mukhtari is on that climbing section already. It's part and parcel of the category 5 pack, and they are absolutely dialing it here. You can see the category 6 pack ahead of them. That's the head of the race field, the 14 riders that are in the front section of that category 6 race. This is the pack of category 5 riders, and they're coming up towards it, just 20 seconds off the back of Bain, who's on the back of the group. Mukhtari is on the front of this group. Pulaka and Yannicki are there as well. Mountier and Friedeck are there too.
I tell you something. If you didn't watch the finals of last month, give it a watch back. Some astounding sprint finishes and some surprise results in the racing. Well worth a watch back. Don't forget you can watch back all the Sunday race clubs along with the World Championships and lots of other racing on the My Whoosh YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that on the way through. Really does help. So please do make sure you hit that button. Now, jumping back in with Category 2, a little bit further back down that race field as Categories 5 and 6 were battling it out. The first salvo is being fired in the last phase of the battle that is qualifier race number 1 for June. As Emma has previously on the show, 4 qualifiers this month and the finals. It is a bonus Sunday Race Club month for everybody, including us here putting words to the action. That's myself, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin. We get to see these amazing riders in action as we see Category 2 really starting to rip it up, and Phil Graves on the attack at 7 watts per kilo. On the right-hand side of your screen, Betty Mendakowicz, Wozniak Damsgaard are there and clearly wanted to break down that massive group as coming to the top of the leeward desert climb. The sprint is on as they go up over the top. This is the big pack coming over the top of the climb here. This will be very interesting to see who has taken away the climbs competition, and I think the fastest time there must have gone to Michael Knudsen because he's in the climber's jersey as over the top goes Lionel Vujassin at 10 watts per kilo. So they've gone over the top of the climb, and immediately they've gone over the climb. It looks like Lionel Vujassin has gone on the attack. He went at 10 watts per kilo over the top. He's not got anybody go with him. This group is reforming behind. Over the top of the climb, it was Knudsen from Andreasen, from Safrazedi, from Flavus, and Kaminski. They are the point scorers on the climb of the Leeward Desert climb.
17 riders in that leading group, mind you, after the Leeward Desert climb. So that's 17 riders who may well be heading towards, well, they are going to be heading towards the Telmarie Dune section together. And Vink now back in the mix, but it's Vink chasing Vujassin because Vujassin is the rider who's pushed on. Vink closing it down. Knudsen, Andreasen, Van Elst, Kaminski all taking the tow. Kaminski's taking a massive tow because he's trying to do the least amount of work as possible on this downhill run. So Michael Vink comes back up onto the wheel of Lionel Vujassin. Is he going up and over the top? Is Vujassin responding? Yes, he is. Ollie Jones, huge stick from Ollie Jones, around 14 watts per kilo, driving to get into this in case this is the move of the day. The push is coming here. It's a huge flat transition section of around 10 kilometres, but don't let that discount the action.
No, definitely not. Lionel Vujassin kicked over the top of the climb at 10 watts per kilo. Vink went across to him. Jones saw the danger of letting Vujassin and Vink go. Jones closes it down. He gets onto the wheels. He closes that gap right down again. He holds them at bay. Vujassin and Jones, teammates there, both riding for the Alpha Jaw squad.
Well, they don't want Vink to go with Vujassin, do they?
Well, only if they've got more people. 2 to 1 sound, 2 to 1, you know,
well, 1 to
evens
1.
it up a bit better. 1 to 1, no, not so much when you've got Vink in that same ring. Now Jones just tapping out the rhythm on the front. You can see him just taking a drink on board in the Pain Cave in person. So we see another move going down the side here as a big push on that, and I think that was Plantero who's just gone off in front. It is. He eases back off though, so kicking into that corner, kicking through the group, but then backing off at the moment, and there are riders behind. This is not one bunch anymore in the Category 1 race. There are at least 2 riders who've been distanced by the pace, the pressure, and the power that's been applied. I actually think it's nearer 3 or 4 riders who have gone, but as we said, my math is not great today.
Well, Plantero, Kaminski, Andreasen, Tugels, Jones, Millerstick, all in this group. Johan Noren, our early attacker in the Category 1 race, also still in the mix. The Category 2 pack, where they're at 27.5 kilometres, a little further down the road. They're still like Category 1 on the transition between the Leeward Desert climb and the Telmarie Dune climbs. Big group here, but you can see very clearly it was split with a large chase group behind. So at last count, there were 36 riders in this leading group in Category 2. Betty, SS, Wozniak, Velez, Santo, Miller, Bjarhead, Gombert, Alan Jung, all still in the mix as we head back to the front of the race.
The front of the race at the moment is Category 6, but not for long. Category 5 are on the way, and we can just see Samo Friedeck at the moment working hard to make sure he stays in contention. Pulaka at the moment on the front, leading Category 5 with Moktari, Friedeck, Roy, Yannick, Wang, Peterson, all chasing, all right in the mix. They're going to come onto this group. The riders will start to get a little bit of aerodynamic draft advantage, but they're traveling about 16 kilometers an hour, so it's not going to be decisive, but it could make the difference between being able to stay in. You can see the fracturing as we go over the top of this climb. This is at 37.8k, and this is the intermediate, this is the middle climb of the three big climbs that make up this dune section. We saw the first one, that 800-meter kicker. This is the second summit of the three, but then we move straight into the Tel Marib dune climb. So over the top here, we drop straight down, and then it's a very quick transition onto that Tel Marib dune climb. The same ascent as the Aquarium climb, all done in less than a third of the distance on the climb.
Look at the size of that leading group now on the ride, and David Winfield, Maxime Fabre and Simon Llewellyn, the rider on our screen at the moment, right at the front of that Category 6 race. And well, the question is, will they go in with the Category 5 riders? Will they leave them be? Because they have made that 5-minute catch and gone past them. Pulaka, I tell you something, he has been putting in some great riders recently. So has Yannicki and Sebastian Wolf. He's that Category 6 rider, the purple jersey that's just rolled its way through. They're on the downhill at the moment at the 38.3 kilometre marker. They're about to go into the categorised Tel Marib dune climb. It's 1 kilometre long with an average gradient of 10.06%. Do not forget the 0.06. It is steep, steep, steep out there today. The Category 5 riders, I would say, are going to come to the fore on that section, as on the left-hand side of your screen, the Category 4 riders come into the first of those Tel Marib climbs.
So just making the way in and across the bridge, and then they go up over the first of those climb sections. We're going to see how, second of those climb sections just making the way in. They went over the first climb, they went in, going into the second. Meanwhile, back at the Category 1 race, you can just see the 26.6k. We've just gone over one of those slight rises on the way towards the Tel Marib dune climbs and the Tel Marib sprint. We got Knudsen on the attack. Jones sat behind him with Kaminsky. So at the on a long range attack, using that little bit of a rise in the road to string out Category 1. But Category 2 are already at that Tel Marib sprint. They've just gone flying through there. And the Tel Marib sprint is going to be very, very telling indeed how many riders there are in contention as they make their way in and through. I make it about 32 or so, but I could be wrong there.
Oh, you might be right. You never know.
No, it wasn't a guess. I was looking at this computer screen. Well, yeah. Yes, it's not just guessing, believe me. Now, Jonas Bjerg goes over the top. They've gone through the sprint. He pushes his way up over the top.
But take a look at that. We've got a rider off the front at the moment, and it is Phil Graves, who is pushing on at the front of the race. He's 7 seconds clear, just around the bend. There he is. We've just dropped in with him. There you go. Great shot. Gives you a clue of what's going on behind. And the stretch is on the group behind, because they are chasing Graves down. Betty, Mendakowicz, Bjarhead, Krasnich, Bjorkland. They are the riders doing the chasing on the front of the pack as Graves digs in. Phil Graves hasn't had a win in a while. He's got to be due one. He's got to be coming back into that type of form.
I happen to know he's been putting in quite a lot of miles.
You've been Strava stalking.
Maybe. He's been putting in quite a few, I have spent a lot of time on Strava recently, actually. He has been putting in quite a lot of miles, because he's working miles in the UK rolling kilometres, out on the road as well, getting some seriously big training blocks in. So interesting to see whether that pays off now. So right hand side of your screen at Category 2 leader, left hand side of your screen Category 1 group at the moment. That's the leading group, and you can see that they are bouncing about still. This is still not decided. They are keeping the pace high, and it is it's a real key team tactic. You see it time and time again, and we
Yeah.
saw it in Giro being played out, where teams would keep the pace high to stop attacks going off the front. Teams do at the end of going into a sprint, they go in, do the same going into a critical climb section, stop people going on the attack, keep the pace high, and it really does stop that differential in speed that you need to get the gap. Graves has got it on the right hand side, and the moment that gap, 10 seconds, Emma, it's opening out. But we saw when you hit the climbs, 10 seconds is not a lot if you blow. So you've got to be careful, haven't you?
You do. It's not a lot. And to be honest, the question is Graves giving himself slipping room before he goes into the Tel Marib climbing sections, or is this an attack where he thinks he can win the race? At the moment, I'm taking a look at the pace behind, and the rest of the pack do not seem as bothered about the fact that Phil Graves is down the road. So the gap is actually going out at the moment. Take a look at the pack. They're wide across the road. There's nobody driving hard. One or two riders picking up the pace in the pack and maybe coming to the fore of the group, just making sure they're covering the positions. But at the moment, it is not as desperate a drive to bring him back in as you might think. Well, Maciej Mendakowicz has now decided he'd like to try and join Phil Graves because the gap is now at 12 seconds. So Mendakowicz now doing something about it. Bjarhead coming up onto his wheel. Wozniak is doing that as well. But Phil Graves is holding that pace. He is time trialling strongly away from the group, and very, very shortly they're going to come into the Tel Marib dune climbing section. That first climb, 800 meters at 10%. It's going to be interesting.
I think one of the things here is that the riders went to try and bridge across. They didn't do it immediately, and they then realised they've got this climb coming. You can't put a bridging effort in just before the climb. You had to do what Phil Graves was smart there. He put the effort in early. He's given himself enough time to get the gap and then sit at a good pace, get some recovery. So you're not in the red zone immediately before going into the red zone again, going on to this climb. And I think those riders who try to bridge realize that gap's too big, and we're not going to provoke a chase from everybody. Everybody's holding on and waiting. Now, that's giving the advantage to Phil Graves. It's giving him the advantage of riding into this at a pace. What's the worst that can happen? The group will come up to him on the climb, and he's ridden up at a pace which is consistent, whereas everybody else is jumping and having to kick an attack. We're seeing another move off the front here, kicking into towards the base of the climb. And I think this is... it's Giselle Betty who's got, and with the greatest respect to Giselle Betty, I'm not sure what he's going to achieve here other than go into the zone immediately before the climb. He must be confident he can kick all the way up the climb and do an effort before it.
Well, we've just seen Simon Walter on our screen looking really calm and collected.
Yeah, that's
actually.
what I want to be doing, sitting back.
You know, sitting back, calm and collected. Bjarhead, Nick Coate. The pace has come off. X100, we're seeing around 1.5 watts per kilo. They really are just reserving energy and lowering that heart rate before they go into that big kick, that 10% climb. Other than Betty, who we're seeing here push on. Now, the question is for me, Betty has taken his warm-up jersey off, which is absolutely great.
And he's had a coffee as well. Maybe that's going to be what makes the difference.
That could well make the difference. But Betty is driving this. And my question is, you know, is he planning on almost like a time trial attack here, running hard, stay at the same pace and just go for a long effort? Hopefully you're going to run into the back of Phil Graves, and I think he is.
I think he's going to run right over him.
Well, that's it, isn't it? The question is here, as the horses run alongside the riders, Betty is going to run alongside Phil Graves very, very shortly.
Now, here we go. If Betty came in, he went early. I always love it when riders do something different where you maybe not expecting. I fully did not expect Betty to go in so early. He's gone early. He's gone hard.
He knew what he was doing.
I don't disagree with that. Whether it's the right thing to do, even when you know what you're doing, you can often do the wrong thing. Let's face it, we've all done that. Here we go. He gave himself a sliding room as a minimum. Graves has been reabsorbed into that group, and I think that could well be the cost of having gone on the attack early. Betty is staying clear here at the moment. Does it come over the top? It does mean he should be in the selection moving forwards. It's one way to ensure that you go over the top of the climb here in the selection in contention behind him. This is the names. These are the riders who are closest to him, and it's Themes, Nitko, Milor, SS, Bjarhead, Skierski, Alan Young was up there. But this is really interesting. Pinto, it's a revolving door of characters at the moment at the front of the Category 2 chase behind Betty. As we take a look on the left-hand side of our screens at the Category 1 leading group at the moment, Michael Knudsen at the moment, after having pushed on, is sat at the back of that group. That's an interesting move by him to sit closer to the back, and I think this is all about rest. It's about recovery. He is doing that waiting game for the climb on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, though, Betty staying clear. Phenomenal ride by him. He's holding the time gap as he goes up this climb. It's computed, it's a live time gap, so it is speed versus distance as a computation to give you the time gap. It will change as they go over the top. He will pick up speed first, so we'll need to get them into a stable section of road together on the same gradients, the same speeds, to get a clear indication of the time gap. But Betty over the top in the lead, continuing to push at over 5 watts per kilo behind. They're holding a similar watts per kilo, and that time gap looks to be holding. The distance just extending because he's picking up speed on the downhill. Now, let's take a little bit of a look across the left-hand side of your screens to the very front of the race. Category 5 are the riders furthest down our race route today. They're currently at 43.5 kilometres. At the moment, 3 leaders in that Category 5 race. Tamo Fedek, along with Jussi Palaka and Mohamed Mukhtari. They have a slight gap, 8 seconds to Yannick Wang. To Yannick, it's 12 to Wang and 22 to Roy.
Well, they do indeed. Sebastian Wolf, the Category 6 leader, is wearing the polka dot skin suit in 4th place on the road at the moment, in with the chase group of the Category 5 race field. So Category 5 leaders just 6 seconds down the road from the Category 6 leader at the moment, as they're coming into the final 1,000 meters. Friedrich and Mukhtari, the 2 riders on the screen, the 2 riders at the front of the group. They've got Pulaka for company at the moment with 1 kilometer to go. These 3 riders are about to drop into the descent. The final run in here today, the descent they are about to hit, then the flat run to the finish line. We've seen attacks go on the descent to pick up the momentum and carry the pace towards the finish for an early attack. Will we see any of these riders utilize that tactic today, or will we see that happen from behind? Wolf is the rider leading the charge, but Yannicki behind has picked up the pace already as Tamo Friedrich kicks, but Mohamed Mukhtari, Matt, is leading the charge with 600 meters to go here.
And what a ride by Mukhtari. You can see the effort. You see him out of the saddle, really pulling through there. He's gone early. He's gone for the long one. Tamo Friedrich in only his 2nd Sunday Race Club, though. He's looking to close the gap down. Time is running out here for them as they come around this long sweeping bed here. Mohamed Mukhtari went early. He's got to kick again. Tamo Friedrich goes over the top. Friedrich has got the race lead here. You can see him out of the saddle, sprinting. That bike is bouncing back. Mukhtari is responding, but Laka cannot answer him. What a race by Tamo Friedrich. He takes the win here today in only his 2nd Sunday Race Club. It's going to be Mukhtari and Palaka coming through behind on the podium as well. But what a ride as he goes through. Now, immediately behind, you can see there is going to be a fast chase on. I think Wolf heading in towards the line at the moment in Category 5. I just have to see Emma.
Right, so let's just run through. Tamo Friedrich took the win there from Jussi Palaka, who came over the line just ahead of Mohamed Mukhtari in 3rd. Jean Yannicki takes 4th. Martin Wang takes 5th. Justin Roy, Patrick Mortek, Nathan Peterson and Mark Dadson round out the top 9 in Category 5. Sebastian Wolf did indeed come through to take the win in Category 6. Brent Sensing, Simon Llewellyn, David Winfield and David Milano round out the top 5 in Category 6 as well.
Absolutely packed racing. Category 5 coming in, some royal strength in death, and in Category 6 as well. But here we go. This is the run. And interestingly, those Category 5 have really motored up with Category 6. Category 4 have been a bit more conservative, I think, in their effort today because of the time gap and the distance gap between them and the riders who've just finished.
Well, Category 5 were really motoring, I think, and they really did push on. Category 4, we're in with them at the moment, and we've got 3 riders with a slight gap as they're heading into that downhill. But look at the size of the pack. 21 riders in this leading group last count, should I say. And it is piling up to be a massive sprint finish here today. They're going to hit the descent here and then the flat run in. They're coming up to 900 metres to go. It's Moreno, Kirchner and Moretti with a 3-second gap back to Pino, Goldman, Iran, Quiros. They are all lining up behind, and this man, Jonas Goldman, the man with the sprint skin suit, is the rider making the transition over to the leading 3 with 650 metres to go.
This is dangerous for the rest of the riders here because he's going to come running onto them at speed. He's going to pick up Moretti, Kirchner and Moreno, and will they respond first? It's a long sweeping left-hand bend round to the gantry, and they've not kicked yet. Goman's coming at 8 watts per kilo. Kirchner, Moretti and Moreno. Now Moreno goes. Moreno's kicking on the right-hand side of the road here. Moreno goes through into the race lead as we see Goman make contact with 2nd and 3rd place. Can we see Johan Moreno take away the win? He's going hard. Goman's coming in the green skin suit. He's coming up on his right shoulder. Goman times it to perfection. He takes it away. He adds the overall win to the sprint win there. What timing by Goman. Well worth the effort in. The big bunch comes through behind. Goman scalps the initial lead coming in there. What a ride.
That was absolute, timed to perfection. Goman dialed it on the descent and then took the momentum into the finish. So Jonas Goman taking 1st place in Category 4. Johan Moreno taking 2nd. Paolo Kirchner taking 3rd. Daniel Moretti takes 4th. Araev takes 5th, Quiros 6th, Almeida 7th, Van Erck 8th, Hernandez 9th, and Stevenson 10th.
Yes. Absolutely fast.
Draw breath.
Just a little. It's a very, very fast finish here today on the My Whoosh Sunday Race Club in Telmarie. The fast finish here, the flat sprint in the men's race in stark contrast to the women's uphill sprint we saw earlier on today. If you haven't seen that, do have a watch back of that as well. We're in with Category 3, and we're in with our Category 3 leaders. The polka dot skin suit being worn by Matheus Kalman, who's going to take away the win in that climbs competition. For company, he has got Heaney and Ramirez. They are leading out this, but behind that are chasers. Will they get across? Not so sure about that. Meanwhile, back in Category 1, it looks like Michael Vick has managed to break away as they come in towards the second of the climb. So on the first climb of the Telmarie section, Vick breaking away, just opening up a gap, and I think that was about 10-second gap lead he had.
Yes, on Lennart Tugels.
Okay.
And Tugels was the second rider before a further gap back to the chase pack.
More news when we have it. In with Category 3, Emma, Ramirez, Kalman and Heaney. An interesting trio to have together here.
Oh, it is indeed a really interesting trio to have together. They've got 1.5 kilometres now before we get to the finish. You've got Matheus Kalman on the top of the screen. You've got Carlos Ramirez on the bottom of your screen. Great mural on his on his wall. Absolutely brilliant. What a pain cave Carlos has. That's phenomenal. But it is those 2 riders mixed in with Alex Heaney as they come into the last 1,300 metres of the race. They're coming towards the top of the climb. It's 1.8% gradient at the moment under their wheels. They're 13 seconds clear of the chase bunch behind, which is being led by David Goodall. He's in the mix there with Oleg Kochikov. Those 2 riders in the mix, actually, because it's a Category 4 rider in with them. But it's these 3 riders that are going to contest the win here today in Category 3. Matheus Kalman, Carlos Ramirez, Alex Heaney. 2 out of the 3 on your screen. You can see this race unfold. They've got 900 metres left to go, and the pack is still rolling. No one has gone for the long one yet, but the descent is starting to pick up now. The pace is picking up. They're at 46 kilometres an hour, and it is swiftly climbing.
And of these three riders, it is Matheus Kalman who has the better Palmares on the Sunday Race Club so far, with Ramirez and Heaney all taking the one win. But Kalman, at the moment, he is the man who's regularly taken top spot. Will he be able to do the same again? Heaney just sitting with this group. This is going to be about who blinks first, who gets their timing right. Now, just seeing Cardona Ramirez just take a little bit of a resettle, a reseat as Heaney starts to kick at 13 watts per kilo and starts to move clear of this group. Behind him, you can see the responses coming, but Alex Heaney jumped first. Has he jumped fastest? Kalman is coming. Did Kalman leave it too late? He did. Alex Heaney takes it. He had the timing correct, so we're going to see who came in behind. Heaney takes the win. Matheus Kalman takes second, and Carlos Ramirez takes third. They're your podium in the Category 3 race.
Can I just say, I am loving being in the pain case for the finale.
Yes, please.
It's
more.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you do not stream from your pain cave, please think about joining the live stream, because it is fabulous to get into that window and actually see what the real athlete behind the avatar and the real finale, as well as the one on the screen on the Sunday Race Cup. Now, Category 2 and Category 1 are the riders on the road still, and we've got a real battle going on at the moment. Category 2, there's still a good-sized pack on the road. Category 1, however, on the left-hand side of your screen, Michael Vink has gone clear. Tugles has been caught by Jones. The gap is at around 18 seconds, and Ollie Jones is motoring at the moment.
And they've got company, looks like Van Elston there and Vajassin. I think that group, they're not going to come back, but it does mean that we're going to see a real tough sprinters to go in Category 1. Meanwhile, Category 2, interesting kick by Jeffrey Miller here at 41.4K. I think, remember, they're going to 45. Miller has gone 5.5 watts per kilo. He was not content with the pace that the Category 2 riders were putting in. And Miller has tried to stir up a little bit of action in amongst these four riders. He's, I think, very aware that they could get caught by the riders behind in Category 2. And there's nothing worse than being in a race-winning position and then throwing it away because you didn't keep an eye